Welcome to the Aussie Grappling Girls podcast,
where we talk all things female jiu-jitsu.
I'm Jo.
And I'm Hannah.
And together, we're Johanna.
We will do a little bit of introduction. So we have Jess Fraser, who is the founder of Australian Girls and Gi, which one of my favourite people in the whole wide world.
That's awesome.
So you're going to start us off on our Coaches Season 2. So it's pretty exciting.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Right when I'm feeling completely fatigued by coaching, get a really positive insight.
It's not that bad.
It's good and bad, but yes. You've got me at a good time. Yeah.
That's why we thought, like, morning, everyone's, like, fresh. You've had a coffee and all that fun stuff.
I'm not really fresh in the morning. It takes me till about midday.
Everyone kind
Really good sight though, right?
Yeah.
Like,
7:30-ish.
Jeez. Oh my God. Yeah, that's super early for podcasting.
Yeah.
It is. You don't have your...
Dedicated.
You don't have the flow quite going just yet, but it's fine. Yeah. It's all good.
I'm on my second coffee already, so yeah, I don't know how you guys get through.
Well, that's good though. You got Melbourne coffee. That's
Yeah, I just got back from Canberra, so I was in Canberra for my sister's comp, and yeah, even just the 3 days away, I'm topping back up.
All the coffee. I realised that I had a bit of a caffeine addiction. I decided to go off it, and man, that's hectic, because I'm just like, I can't believe my body's craving this so badly.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I hadn't had a coffee for like 2 months, and then when I was in Melbourne for Pan Packs, I had one, like an espresso in the morning, and it was like, oh, it was so good. It was the best espresso I've had in my life. Oh God, it was like golden nectar. Just sat there sniffing it for a bit.
How do you go with adrenaline though? Because it really affects like comp day for sure.
Yeah, I had a whole big experience with Pan Packs that I went into on the previous podcast, but I didn't really get to compete as much as I thought I was going to. So I only had one match, which was like in the opens for Gi, so that was alright. And
really?
Yeah.
Shit, I haven't podcast, but I will, so I'm sure we're done.
Yeah, I sort of explain everything in that because it was a complete fuck around. It was horrendous, but that's alright.
I hate the comps, but
yeah,
like I just got back from Canberra with my sister. She qualified for the Arnold for the second time in a row, so she's a strongman.
Yeah.
Now that they've got like the women's divisions of the strongman, she does that, and the last comp that she did in July, I think, was so shit. Like, it was such a shit experience, and she failed all of her lifts, and everything was just shit. Like, everything went wrong. And then, like, this comp was just awesome. She smashed it, like, and she was able to show what she can do, and she qualified, of course.
Yeah.
She should have qualified at the last one, but she just had a shit comp experience.
Yeah.
And it was her first, like, her first really bad experience of being out there and just, like, nothing falling into place in the way that she pictured it or envisioned it. Nothing on her training. Like, absolutely everything about it was just shit. And it was so important. Two things: that this weekend she had a great comp that put it behind her, and that other comp experience happened. So you know that there is just shit experiences. That it's not you.
That's right.
Sometimes it's the whole thing, And I just think that even on the days that I've done really well, like, I've always done well locally, but like internationally, the days that I've done well internationally, it's like, I'm absolutely certain. Sure, my skills there. Sure, everything with the prep was there or whatever. But everything has to go right on the day.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, I had a shit one Purple Belt Worlds, man. Purple Belt Worlds, my first Purple Belt Worlds. I turned up and they let me walk out onto the mat, and the ref said, "Nah, I don't like your gi." I had to leave. Can you imagine where your adrenaline is?
Yeah.
I had to go back out, run back through the bullpen. So the chick's waiting for me. Sarah Black's waiting for me, right?
Yeah.
I had to run back to the bullpen, run upstairs, find somebody that had a credit card, take their credit card, buy a fucking gi.
Oh my God.
Put the gi on, no idea whether it fit or not, run down the stairs, come back out, and then the ref called me out. And it's like, that is not optimal. Not optimal at all.
Oh my gosh.
All of that brain just wasn't there when I got out there.
Yeah. It
Like,
frazzles you. It just, yeah.
It amazes me.
I went all the way to America shopping for a gi during my nap.
Yeah. Far out. That's hectic.
That's bad. But you got to have those so you know, to protect certain things on the day and to check in on certain things. And
that's right. Yeah, like it's definitely an experience you learn from,
So much. And if we're talking about me from a coach's perspective, I'm a much better coach because, like, I can support my students through the shit days that aren't their fault. And
you can help. You can empathise as well. You've been through it, and you go like, I know it's a shit time, but you'll get past it. Because I suppose in the moment you get so hung up, you're like, fuck this, but you go like, it's all right. In the future, it will just be one of those funny stories you tell your students.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and when you're a black belt, you'll tell the same stories a million times, like I do. Like, and that will be one of them.
Yeah,
it will help people. Like shared experience is important, and like it. Yeah, it also helps you separate who you are as an athlete to competition. Competition can't define you because some comps are just shit.
Yeah,
and your technical ability has simply got better. This week from last week and from the week before and from the year before. So the comp, even though you can go out and show people like, I'm a badass and I can beat up somebody that's a badass, like that's true regardless.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't get an opportunity to prove it,
Yeah, that's right.
And it doesn't define you at all. And it's really important to separate those things. If you define yourself as a competitor, no matter what you do, like if you define yourself just from your competition outcome, no matter what you do, age is coming your way.
Yeah.
Age and decline is coming your way.
Yeah.
You're gonna have
I agree.
yourself as a human, like no matter what you do. Yeah,
no, that's a really good point. I like it.
Well, and it's hard to kind of, a lot of people, they beat themselves up if they don't do well at competition as well. They feel like they let down their team and they let down everyone. And it's like, well, if you're not 100% or just stuff doesn't go your way, then you can't help that.
Yeah, and
one of my teammates, he's only just recently started saying it because I guess he was embarrassed at the time or wasn't willing to share vulnerability or whatever. But throughout our comp careers, like me and him competed a lot, like at the same comps at Pan Pacs and stuff. He didn't go international, but he did a lot of big comps in Australia with me. And he was a blue belt when I was a purple, that kind of thing. But we did a lot of comp together. Yeah. He was getting hernias at the comps.
Jesus Christ.
Guy. I know, and he just never said anything to any of us. And we'd be there screaming like, like move, like he'd be underneath someone. And we're like, don't stop, And the guy's just like fully ruptured his gut into his abs, and he never said anything, like. And I think that he didn't want to show that he was vulnerable or whatever. But that's a bad comp day. Like that. Yeah. He's still a badass. He was always going to be a badass. Yeah. But what can you do if your body's defying you for certain things?
Preach.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Nothing you can do about that. Like, if you have bad food or you can't keep your food down or something, and you just you can't compete because of those things. Like it can't. You can't think that you've got the weight of your team's opinion on you when there's so many factors, I think.
Yeah, and what I really realised about being at Pan Pacs, because it's the first really like bigger comp I've done that was interstate, is that like no one gives a crap how you do other than like your team are there for you and they're like cheering you on and they care that you do well, but ultimately like in the grand scheme of things like no one at all gives a fuck how you did. Like, it's and so like so people put so much pressure on themselves to do well and they don't do well and they're like like I let my coach down, and like I know like in the past when I've done badly or that sort of thing or leading up to it, I say to like my coach Chris, like I just don't want to do crap by I just want to do well by you and that sort of stuff, and I want to make you proud. And he's always just like, you always make me proud just by going in the comp, and I'm sure you can relate. You know, you don't care whether they win necessarily. It's more just that they're doing it.
It's such an important insight It will help you if you want to go international with competition, you know, like it'll help you so much that everybody's focused on themselves, everybody cares about themselves. And honestly, like the big insight for me was when I started to go to Worlds and you have this experience, like think about like your end of the experience, right? Like you go, oh, how did Ben go? And someone will go, oh, he lost second round. And you go, oh, that's it. That's all that happens.
Yeah.
In your mind, you're thinking, fuck, he's really good. I'm surprised he lost. That's what happens in Grappling.
Yeah.
No more, no less. And then you go, oh, okay, cool. How did you go? And the person in front of you is holding back tears going, I got armbarred. And you're like, oh, yeah. All you think is, fuck, you're really good. I'm surprised by that. Or when they win, you go, yeah, wow, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's so true.
Change your judgment of something.
Yeah,
like,
no.
You know, you Joe, talking about getting armbarred, a flying armbar. It's like, oh, wow. Yeah, oh, yeah, that's weird. Like, and then you move on, you know. Like, but the person experiencing it is like totally crushed by it, and probably the person that did that flying armbar is like, yeah, I landed one. Woo,
they're just like hell happy with themselves. Like, I fucking landed a flying armbar. I don't think they think any less of their opponent either. They're not like, you know, that person sucks or whatever. They're like, fuck me, and I managed to get that.
That experience does not change from a coaching perspective. Like, I watch some of my students like totally kick ass or do something that I've never seen before in a comp, and I'm like, oh wow, that was really cool. You know? Or they totally freeze, or, you know, different factors. Like one of my guys competed on Sunday, and I was watching the fights, and I'm like, this is really weird. It just looks weird. I can't work out what's going on. And then I got the backstory of it, and the guy that he was fighting was stronger than anyone. Like, you know, the guy saw him take his shirt off, and he was like, you know, Roidosaurus, and like that, I couldn't see that in the video. So you've got like a 120 kilo plus guy full of steroids, and so my guy just wasn't moving like he usually does, and that like that's the thing as well. Like, I'm not impressed by my student who did win. Like I just was like, that's weird, you know, like he's not moving. But there's factors, you know, that aren't him. Like, I know how to do this at jiu-jitsu. I know how to do. The comp maybe didn't get to showcase that, even if there is a win or a loss, you know?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I've done so many stupid things, and like Chris is on the sideline like, what? Like he literally has his hands in the air. Like, what did you do? Like, why did you do that? And you're like, I don't know. It like felt like it was a good thing at the time.
Art sensory. I'll explain that.
It spoke to you. Yeah.
I felt like that's where the opening was. Clearly, it was a lie.
I've watched fights of mine. There's a couple of instances that I can think of that are really weird, where I just had like I thought I was really present in the fight, like really clear and having a good time, and like really aware of everything, and hear my coaches and all that kind of shit. And there's a fight that I lost last year at Worlds that I rolled to a knee bar, and it's fucking perfect, right? It's a perfect knee bar. I don't know why I didn't finish it. But my brain told me, I don't know why, but it told me you're not going to be able to finish this knee bar unless you put the Achilles behind your armpit. You know how you like your whole body rather than use your upper body, you know? I'm in the knee bar, right? So I moved past the knee bar. Like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, and I watch it and I'm like, I don't understand. Like, there's a knee bar. It's fully straight. I'm fully on it. Like, just thought I'd lose Worlds with the, I don't know.
It was a fun idea at the time.
Just to have one to wake me up in the middle of the night for a couple of months after. Like reliving the glory days.
That's mad. How are you going with all the prep for the AGIG camp? Are you like on top of everything?
Yeah, it's really good. Like everything that's difficult to lock in is locked in and like squared away. Awesome. So that's really cool. The coaching lineup was the hardest thing to do, and securing that has been huge.
And you've done an amazing job, by the way.
Oh, it's amazing. It's so good. It's really, like, I can't wait to get everyone together. So, like, the coaching lineup of me, Jess from the USC, obviously, Heather Raftery, who's the ATOS black belt, who's just a legit badass, and Natalia Zor from Queensland is just insane. So that's a huge showcase to bring together as it is. But I also, got on the phones and sponsored a heap of athletes to come to be on the mat. So it's not just the coaches that you're looking to, it's black belts that you're getting to drill with and train with. So they're actually coming as attendees. Like, I didn't put them into coaching roles so they could just be part of it along with everybody that is paying to come along. So it's like...
They get to experience it as an extra... Yeah. I suppose because, like, a lot of black belts at the moment, like those sorts of people, they would be in coaching roles, and sometimes it's nice for them not to be a coach and just, just experience it as a student or at least just an attendee and get the same thing out of it, because they go, like, they're already coaching so much that they're like, sometimes I just want to sit back and actually enjoy something as, an extra, not in that sort of coaching role.
I think that's really important for the girls on the mats, like the purple belts that are coming are going to be able to grab a drilling partner that outranks them. That's awesome.
I know, and I found that as well, like when I went to Melbourne, like I rolled at Absolute, and it was amazing to be able to actually roll with girls that were higher than me, because it's just, I don't get to do that very much, and like that sort of thing is what pulls up your level, is being able to roll people that can they outdo you, and their technique is amazing, and you're like, oh man, like, and you got stuff to learn from that.
I think that it's important to see, for sure, like for me, I had to travel internationally to have that experience, and to be able to provide that in Australia. Like, I have always travelled Australia because I've been at the crest of the wave as a competitor, and even in my belt rank, I have travelled Australia and gone and rolled with as many women as possible so that they can feel it. Like I don't roll with women like a savage, but I've never gone easy on them. And the main reason that I've done that is because I didn't get that. I literally had to travel to America to train with Soap or train, Garcia's or whatever, to have that. And I think it's been really important that women just see the next step, or feel the step, because it is different between men and women. The shock when a guy rolls with me for the first time, the shock on their faces, like they're just blown away that's how we feel. That's what it is. But I can see that in men so clearly. Like, they're just like, I've never rolled with someone that's smaller than me that's so much better than me. And that experience, when they vocalize it, and they're pretty bad at masking it, because it's like, oh, and you're a girl, so they're sort of, like, they don't realise that they're being slightly patronising. Like, they're just so innocently blown away by it, And so, like, women don't vocalise that so much, but I really think that they need to see it. And like teams like Absolute, that it's incredible what they've got, but not everybody has access to that or is able to capture that.
Absolutely.
So, and that's where Australian Girls in Gi comes in. So we can provide that. And, cool things as a result is, like, I've looked at it recently and realised on the planet, I would be the woman that's rolled with more women than anyone else. Like,
that's mad.
You're like, it's me.
It's crazy, but it's real now, because I've been doing this for almost a decade, not just my own sport, but like I said, I'm away every weekend now until February, and that's not just to go sit on a beach, that's to go roll with woman after woman after woman after woman. Darwin, Sydney, like that's my life, and it has been like that since 2010. So like, that is interesting to me, that there isn't anyone else that's done that.
It's so cool. And we're grateful to have someone like you being the leader of the pack as well, to show what can be done and like what's an awesome experience to do, because I know that some girls don't go to open mats and don't actively try and cross train because of the fear of who they're going to encounter. But I definitely, like, for me personally, seeing what you've done has influenced me like a lot, because
that's awesome.
And like, we do a lot of open mats now because of it, and because I just like, I meet people and like, I'll come roll with you. It may take me 6 months to get there, but I always, if I meet someone and we've got that connection going on, you just like, I will come and roll with you at your gym and I'll make a point of it. But sometimes it just takes me a really long time to get there.
Yeah, and me too, you know, there's so many gyms to get to. Like, a while back, I made the AGIG, like the list of gyms that are represented, AGIG is represented in, you know, or teams that have. So basically, I went back through a decade of registrations for AGIG events, and I got all of the teams, because each time you register for something, you say your team and your coach. So I got all of the teams, and then I added them to a Google Maps, and there's like 680 teams, you know.
That's so cool.
Like, my dream before I retire would be to get a van and go to all of those gyms, like at least once, you know, and just shake hands and have a roll with at least one person, you know. Like, I think that could be a really cool thing to do. I mean, it would take me years to do it, but because even if it's like one gym a day, that's like,
that's a lot of Ks.
I was saying to someone else the other day when we were talking about seminars, and I was saying that a lot of the people that come and do seminars and that sort of thing, they don't often roll. It's like, especially like at the end of the seminar, they don't roll. And I think part of the experience of having that person there and having the seminar from them is actually being able to roll them at some point, whether it's at that seminar or later on or whenever. And there's all these really great people in BJJ, and you get a seminar from them, you learn from them, but some of the best learning experience you get from them is actually rolling with them.
100%.
You know, and I think it's great that you go around and roll people, because I remember when you came to Perth for the Bays and Belts thing, and we got to roll, and it was an amazing sort of thing, because there's not that many at that time, especially there weren't many higher ranked females in Perth
accessible.
And there's still, I mean, there's still not many like browns and blacks in Western Australia still. There's a bunch of us purples, but and that sort of thing, but like those higher ones, and it was the first experience I had with that. You were the highest female I'd ever come across, and like it was so awesome being able to feel that. You know, when you roll, you feel. Like you were saying, like you can feel it when you roll someone when they're better, and there's like a decisiveness in the way that they move it's so purposeful, and you know it, you can feel it when you're rolling them. You're like, I know she moved that in that way specifically for a reason. It wasn't just like flailing around trying to do something, you know.
It's not just scrambles trying to get away from like somebody else's movement, and that, like, another important thing I think in that is that you do feel where the physicality comes in. Like, it's not just a gentle art. It's like you'll put your full conviction behind something. Like, I will break a grip with strength, because like why wouldn't I, you know?
I'm not gonna half-ass it.
I think it's important for women to see too, that it's like, I'll get up and wrestle, and I will absolutely wrestle like a fucking freight train, because wrestling requires it, you know. Like, it's not without technique, but it's also not without strength. So I think that's important too, that like we don't just go, oh, like women are technical. Yeah, they're technical and they're strong, and they will put power behind when and if it's applicable. It's just that we have less of horsepower. That's it. We're still putting it in there, you know. So I think I
think we're very smart where we allocate it too. Because we don't have like that sort of like high level, infinite level of power and explosiveness. It's like we choose very specifically when we want to put that power and that strength behind what we do. We're very economical with it, I think.
And but that doesn't mean that it's devoid of that. Like, just because I don't have much strength doesn't mean I'm not using my strength. So it, like, that I think is definitely important for people to see, like definitely women, you know, like, and the thing with, you know, like with seminars, traveling and rolling, I've like insights that I've had as a coach and just as an older person with doing this stuff and maybe being smaller as well. When I tour, if I'm doing one-off seminars, like if I go and I just do one seminar, say this weekend, you know, in Canberra, and then I'm home and I get to train and I get to lift and I get to recover and stuff, I will absolutely roll with everyone in the room. Like, it's not uncommon for me to do 20 rounds after a seminar.
Yeah.
But if I'm touring, if it's like, you know, the tour that I did with you guys in WA, and it was like one place and then we drove and then another place. And
that was hectic.
That's actually, it's like, I get more injuries come up in that than anything else because it's sporadic training. I've like been in a car or traveling for 3 days. I talk for an hour and a half to the room and then all of a sudden I'm rolling. And like, to be fair, the most logical thing for me to do is pick the most highly ranked and the biggest guy first and work my way down so my fatigue matches the skill level and the belt level by the end. So if that person is a problem, they're a problem, you know, and you've just got out of a car, you know, like you're not.
It's very exhausting traveling so much.
It's the stop-start thing, you know. If I can train consistently with routine, injuries don't come up for me. But if I'm training, like, if I do 10 rounds on a Monday night after talking for an hour and a half, having not eaten, you know, and then you've got the social thing after the training, you don't get to recover, you don't get your carbs in at the right time. The next day I'm like fucked, and I'm fucked for 3 days, and then I do it again. And so I'm not actually maintaining any strength or fitness or anything. I'm just doing like these blast runs with people I don't know. And so that becomes really dangerous for me. So like, I have to be really careful with it. But I like, you know, it depends on the team and it depends how well I know them. But I will usually line the women up and go to lower strength and go through them first and then go back to the guys if I've got time. But it's funny how many dudes are like, they'll come and stand in front of me and I'm like, I'm sort of here for the women, so back of the line, bucko.
That's so good.
Fun.
It's awesome though, because like I think a lot of the times it happens in the reverse with like when you have a male seminar and stuff with, you know, like a guy doing the seminar, they often prioritize the men first as well because they want that like, you know, that war between them and that sort of thing. And so, you know, girls often take like a little bit of a back step there as well. So it's cool because at least there's that change reversing.
And another thing, I know when I was a white belt, I didn't want to bother the people visiting going, you won't get anything like, with rolling with me. So I would kind of like go, you go with someone else, it's fine. And I kind of I've disregarded myself in a role. And
I used to think that too, and I would always like, so I said no to rolling with Con Gracie, which was fucking stupid, but because my coach was there and like my old coach, and I was like, oh, you should roll with him because anything he gets out of the roll he can pass to me. And I didn't realize what it actually was. And you know, from my perspective as somebody that offers seminars and that does this stuff, it's not for me. It's for you. You know, so it doesn't matter. I don't need to get anything out of it. What I got out of it was your support, and you're turning up to the seminar and you're telling your friends to come and you're engaging with me during the seminar. You're posting a photo of me and you after the seminar and you're telling people that it was a good seminar and you got something out of it. That's what you contribute, right? What I contribute is that experience for you to roll with me and go, holy shit, I couldn't stop her armbar or whatever. And then a year later I come past and you're like, I'm still doing that armbar that you did to me. You know, that's what I need out of the whole set. You know, that's the whole goal, really, as a coach in that.
Well, now I realise that coming up through the ranks is it's not, like, even if you're just starting out, there's still stuff to learn on either side. Anyways, it's just, even if it's just both of you will get something out of it regardless. Even if it is like you do something unorthodox and you're just like, what the fuck? That actually works. Okay, like, cool. But to look at things as it's a good experience, and if you get the opportunity, like, don't disregard yourself. It's really important because you are worthwhile, and you've got to have that mindset that you're not just another white belt that's not worth rolling, and you've got to take these opportunities when you can.
I don't think students realise how valuable a technical blue belt on the mat is. Like, without a technical blue belt on the mat, you don't get to learn new shit. You're a higher rank, you know? Like, the purple belts get pretty competitive at the end of their purple belt, and you don't really get to play with them anymore. You're fighting them at their level, but their level's quite high, you know?
Yeah.
Like, the purple belt, I really feel, is the end of, like, it's the black belt of the novice belts.
Yeah.
And they have that. And then brown belt is like apprentice black belt, right? So I think that without a technical blue on the mat, you don't get to dick around with a new sweep set, or like when you've got an injury, you don't get to play like De La Riva from the wrong hip, you know? Like, there's such important people on the mats because they're still hungry and they're still frustrated with their technical ability, and they like desperately want to get better. So they'll eat shit from you too. Like, like learning how to like choke a face on some poor blue belt, and they're like, like their ego won't let them stop, you know? They're so important.
Yeah.
And you don't get them unless you foster the white belt. So you get something from every role with every single person, I believe.
That's right.
For sure. And if you cannot get something out of a role with someone, when I see that attitude of like, ugh, I get nothing out of rolling like whoever, that person is telling me there's something wrong with them. There's something wrong with their outlook on life.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, like, the camp was amazing, just having that experience of just, like, people popping up and like, oh, do you want to roll? You're like, oh, yeah, sure. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I
It's
couldn't...
interesting, even if you outrank everyone, right? For me, of course, that happens at the camps, and it's gonna happen unless I hang out with the Gracies, right? But like, it's interesting for me to see what you bring, like what you tell me in a role, you know. And it's not about like, you don't have to be worried about being judged or whatever, but it's exciting for me to go, okay, like, what have you done with this sport? We were both given the same sport. We were both given the same, like, essentially opportunities, group-based classes in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
And what have you gone and done with that? Like, and some people will totally surprise you. They've got like some weird long body type, yet they play so hard. And you're like, I was not expecting that. Like, it's just, and some people want to wrestle, and some people will just ball up and be pure defense because they're actually suddenly in a fight with you and they don't want you to win. I'm like, wow, that's a thing as well. Like, wow. And then I like move on to somebody else and they do something completely different, you know?
Yeah.
Like, the really cool thing for me is because I often only roll with women once a year because of the camp, like those specific women, there's lots of people that have come back year after year. I get to see what they've improved. That is awesome. Because I've literally just seen them as like a photo in time that's stuck there in my mind, and then I get to see them again, and that's really fun.
That's really cool.
I remember that when you came to our gym, you said I'd improved, even though I had a hip injury at that stage, and I was just like, how do you even remember? Like, that amazes me. I was just like, you're just saying that. I don't believe that you remember.
No, I'm aware of what people do, because you remember your, like, their presence in the role, not specifically what they do, but whether they have an impact in the decision of the direction of the role. Sort of deal.
Yeah, so whether like you're dictating it or whether they implement certain areas of their game where you're like, oh, I had to deal with that first before I could do what I wanted, or that sort of thing. Or
Yes. Or if you like guide them towards a good decision-making process and they ignore it. You know, like that stuff. And you do roll with people to their belt level, you know, like I am aware of differences that people do, and like mainly about their presence. You know, I really remember that was the big thing that I got off Sophie Drysdale or Sophie Dermott when I was first rolling with her. It was just she was so like present, you know, like I was a blue belt and she was just so mammoth in my mind. Like everything was a wedge, and I couldn't get around her, and I couldn't open her up in any way. She just seemed like a bulldozer, you know, and that was far out. Like that's full on because she's smaller than me. So I had having to comprehend that, and like I knew I was improving as that in the role became. She's still such a massive presence in the role, but it's very different now.
It's, it's equal now, but
chip some of that away. Not all of it, God no, but at least I'm involved, you know.
That always impresses me when I get to roll higher belts is being beaten by technique, and you're just like, there is purpose to everything you do, and that like I'm just in awe of that, and I just love that when I get to roll with higher girls is the purpose of what they're doing, and there's always a reason you're doing something. And I feel like as I'm progressing, I'm noticing the small things, and I'm going, so that's what you're fucking doing, you little sneaky shit. Like, I wondered that for ages. It's you start noticing, like, as you're progressing, those little roadblocks that get put in the way, and you're just like, man, that was bugging me last time. Like, I could not figure that out for the life of me, and then you catch it, and I just think that's exciting.
I love that because it's like a process that you see in waves where, like, white belt is kind of completely unaware, especially at the beginning, you know, and they're just, like, flapping around. They thought they did something and they didn't, and they'll say to you, oh, I was trying to do this thing, and you're like, oh, were you? Oh, yeah, sweet, you know, like, and later on they get into this mode where they're like, I can see what you're doing, I just can't stop it. And I'm like, yes, that's right. And then they start to like catch timing and stuff later on towards blue and purple, you know, like, so that's really fun. When I hear someone saying, I can see what you're doing, but I just can't make it stop. I'm like, oh, now you're actually in it. At least you're seeing it. Like,
I do find it funny how sometimes you're watching a roll and you go up to them afterwards and you're like, this was really obvious. Like there was this roadblock. That's why you couldn't do it. Oh, but I was going for this. You're like, yeah, but okay, I see that's where you wanted to go, but there's this huge like wall in front of you. Like you have to address that first, and like going through that motion is like, yeah, okay, you figure it out then. Like, you know best.
That's hard, you know. Like, and I know that you guys will both move into coaching roles as you go, but that is really hard to coach because it's like where you are. White noise, end point, talking to a student that's like, they're at that first point and asking why the last point didn't work, and you're like, so all of this in the middle, you're asking me about the last point, like, I'm looking at you like you're an asshole for not answering the question. Like, no, but you cannot go forward onto this frame, and they're like, yeah, but I want the armbar, and I'm like, cool, I want, like, $1 million. What are you doing with this frame? I'm not getting anything. Stop it. And still just go straight into the frame. And like, I had like one guy looking up at me last night, holding like this kind of hybrid of like, I could see what he was trying to do. He was trying to do an Americana, but it just wasn't there. And he was sort of trying to Americana the face. Like nothing was there, you know, the grips around the right. And I was just looking at him, and he's looking up at me going, why doesn't this work? And I'm like, oh, that is a big question. Move on. And so he looks at me like I'm just a prick for like, you know, dashing his dreams of Americana. There's so many problems that I'm just like, go back to control, please. Like,
I've always wondered that because I kind of just let people go. I'll try and help correct because I don't like when people try and correct me all the time, so that bugs me. But when I can see something like flaming obvious that I'm going, if you just, like an underhook, for instance, like if you keep forgetting that, like you need to stop. Like, this is really important. Like, you need, like, just
stop doing that.
Yeah.
And you just sound like a harsh bastard, but like the reality is for your belt level, the best thing you can do is beat them up. Fuck them up with it. If they keep doing it, you just beat them up with the same thing every single time until the question comes up of like, why do you keep taking my back?
Yeah.
Because you never got an underhook. Like, that's not the problem, you know? Like, so that, you've got to be cruel to be kind.
Yeah.
Unless you want to be one of those, like, instructor students that they pop up. There's lots of people that do that.
Yeah.
None of us enjoy the experience, right? So it's better to get beat up and then they have to instruct themselves, you know? Like, But as I'm doing the same thing as you. I'm just standing there like, what? I don't understand. Like, my latest chant for, and it's bad, I shouldn't. But there's one person that if I have to say, stop hugging the head.
Yeah, I know those people.
Good old head huggers.
But all I do, like, I've yelled that across the room so many times that, like, people are saying to me, while that guy's rolling, anytime I come close, he, like, goes rigid because he's terrified of me. And I'm like, he won't have to be terrified of me if I get to stop yelling, stop hugging the head. Like, so if he does, he won't be scared of me anymore. But also, I need my students to take his back and choke him out every time he headlocks someone, because otherwise, me saying it obviously isn't getting through.
Yeah,
you know? He's not getting past it. But if you get choked a million times by everybody higher ranked than you, and then it slowly comes down to your rank, and then people that have just started jiu-jitsu, if you get choked by everybody because you're hugging the head, that will teach you more than anyone saying it. Yeah.
I do find, though, being smaller, sometimes you can't, because I don't quite have the technique. It's like they can muscle me out of stuff, and I'm just like, why I order? Joe, beat them up.
That's a frustrating thing, I think, across the board. I believe, like, and maybe, I haven't had much experience of it, but I think that most women have that experience until, like, late purple.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking, I had a cry about this the other day, actually. Like, a genuine, like, I cried because, like, over the last couple of days when I've been rolling, I've rolled with a couple of people that their technique is lacking, but their strength and power is there, and that I can't do, like, I can't have there's some rolls that feel like really good, I suppose, that are like educated rolls where they're like, that's such good technique, and like I felt weak at points, and I felt like I could snap at any point because they were so strong, but they weren't using actual technique, and I felt like it was hard for me to actually get that, like, learn and get better from myself, because I just couldn't get past their strength, not necessarily their technique. And it's so frustrating, and I still get really very frustrated from it.
Really frustrating. Like, one of my girls who's very good, gets a massive, like, white belt on top of her. She outranks him, and he'll do things like use all his strength to just crush past her. She doesn't even have the leg length to hold him in guard when he's at close range, and he'll be saying things while he's passing, like, you can do it, and that is the most distressing thing for her. It's actually shit.
It's very demeaning.
She knows she's better. But she can't do anything in the moment. And I believe that, and she is better. Like, that's just fact. Like, so I believe that, in my experience, like, maybe it's not, but in my experience with most women that I've rolled with, most gyms that I've been to, like, I really believe that women don't get the experience of being a hammer, like being the bigger hammer, like, and somebody else being the nail until, late purple belt. And one of the reasons being is that, I believe that we're learning we're learning technical jiu-jitsu, right? We pedestal it higher than most things in jiu-jitsu. There's kind of like two branches, like there's self-defense and then there's jiu-jitsu technique, and they might they differ for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that later in purple belt, you have more than one game. So white belt and blue belt, you're honing one game so you can learn the sport. And then at purple, you're actually branching out. You either add in a bottom game when you had a top game, or you add in a second layer of your guard, or you add in a second layer like your takedown to your passing, or whatever it is. You're adding in more games and honing that first one even more strongly. And you're then able to make decisions of which game you're choosing to use against different body types.
Yeah.
And I think that's
I can 100% relate to that right now.
So I think that's really important. And one of the major things that you learn in purple belt is posture control. So if you can't control someone's posture, as a female in no-gi in purple belt, like, and I was pretty strong, like, girls would join the gym that had never done any jiu-jitsu before, came across from the Muay Thai floor, like years and years of Muay Thai, great posture, great explosivity, and I couldn't hold them back. And I'd be going home in tears because some brand new white belt, literal, like, numpty would, like, blast through my guard and I'd have to turtle and I'd recover and stuff, and then I'd get back in the game. But I'd be like, how could she even make a dent? Like, I'm meant to be this good purple belt. But it wasn't until, it wasn't until later on where I worked out I don't actually have to do jiu-jitsu with her because she's not doing jiu-jitsu. What I have to do is self-defense. Until she falls into something that's jiu-jitsu. So I had to use, like, just pure frames and avoidance until she was guided into something that I outclassed her in. But when she, like, full, like, just knee through death, like, fully postured up 5 miles away from me, I'd be just underneath her going, I don't understand how I'm going to stop the person, And so if you take that and you make it a dude size, I wasn't having success with them. It's not that my jiu-jitsu wasn't getting better, but I really believe that it was at the end of purple that I had enough games that I was like, oh, massive white belt dude that passes like a rhino on his knees, fighter guard for you. Like, a small guy trying to outpace me, like, half guard for you, like, or close guard for you. And, like, if there was somebody really big, I'd make sure that they were on their back. Like, it wasn't until then that I started to be able to go, okay, well, no, I've got enough choices. I've got enough tools in my kit to be able to make some choices. I've got enough tools in my kit to be able to make some choices about how I deal with you, rather than just using my one thing that I'm actually really good at. Or blasting through.
I can relate to that right now. That's actually very profound.
It's so good though, because people don't get to hear this.
I know the era, man. It's like the thing is, you're right on the precipice of, like, jiu-jitsu being the most enjoyable thing that you've ever done. And if you think you've enjoyed it until now, like, you've obviously enjoyed it enough to be addicted to this point. You've got a podcast about it. You train all the time. You travel all over Australia to compete. You obviously love it. Trust me when I say, in the next 18 months, you are going to love it. Like, love it on a level that it's just so fun. It becomes different.
I can't wait.
Fun. It starts off sucking. Like,
I know.
There's an adaptation period, Like, that's about to happen.
Cool. Well, I reckon that's, like, we're kind of hitting our time frame that we like to keep our podcast, but did you want to go over the camp details and how many tickets are left in? Because I know that that's like a thing at the moment, that it's just, there's only a handful left. So
actually I did some, like everybody would know if they look at my setup, I'm a bit of a fan of an Excel spreadsheet, and all of my back end of the camp is run on Excel spreadsheets, and I have to do that to track everything because there's so many moving parts. But I did some bad math, and I thought that I just didn't populate a whole column. But I thought I only had 20 tickets left, but I have 27 tickets left, which is still not many. But so I've got 20 tickets left, and that is likely to go. The amount of people that I've talked to that are like, yeah, I'm going to buy a ticket or I'm thinking about buying a ticket. It's more than 27 people that have said that recently, so I would not wait on buying tickets because that's madness. The thing that I'm most proud of and inviting people to come and be a part of is the fact that there's going to be 8 female black belts there. That's never happened in Australia before, so it's even just to take that photo is going to be nuts, and to be with those people, you know, like if you go for this camp and you make a beeline to roll with every single one of us, like set up your own bingo card and single female black belt. You know, that's almost an hour of rolling exclusively just with female black belts, which none of us have ever done before. I don't even know whether I've ever done that, so I'm going to do it, you know? Like, it's just nuts. So that's, like, crazy, crazy good.
I'm so excited.
That's insane. Like, that's an insane, like, opportunity in its own right. Plus, you know, you get to come and be part of, like, one of the best, I think, events in the world, definitely for women, but yeah, one of the best events, like jiu-jitsu wise, anywhere in the world. And we've got a private beach and all that stuff's happening. Like, we've got chicks from the UFC, Australian women that came up through Australian Girls in Gi, like part of Australian Girls in Gi. Like, we met because we rolled at open mats, are now headlining, you know. So Alex Chambers and Jessie Jess are going to be there, you know. Like, it's just nuts. It's like, all of it is crazy. Like, Heather Raftery that's coming. I met her in the bullpen at No Gi Worlds, and Michelle Nicolini. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Like, just, you know, knee barring casually the greatest of all time. So, you know, there's people on that floor that are going to be just incredible to hang out with. Heather's going to be an interesting one to talk to, just on the basis, like, she's Gypsy Jiu-Jitsu, I think, on Insta, but she has made jiu-jitsu her life and was traveling around in a van teaching seminars all over America, and
That's so cool.
done some really cool things that, like, nobody else has done, that is really worth, like, just picking her brain about if you want to make jiu-jitsu your life. And most of the women there, you know, like, jiu-jitsu is my sole source of income and I don't own a gym, so that's something to
That's amazing.
and do other stuff, you know, like, so yeah. And Jessie Jess made it into the UFC, like, fully on her own volition, things like that. So you got women at the top of their game being accessible to you. I just don't, it breaks my mind to think why you wouldn't come, you know? I've heard from people like, oh, I'll come to the next one. Here's the thing, and I'll say it out loud, nothing is set in stone about that, because I'm just a person, you know, like, I don't know whether there's going to be another one. I never know whether there's going to be another one. So there's no point waiting, really. 18, 19 and 20. It's just north of Sydney. I have done every single tried and tested thing for you. If you're flying into the airport, it is so easy to get up there. I've made sure that, like, I've tested it. I flew up to Sydney with, like, 2 big fake bags to see if it's a nightmare to do, and it's really easy. You just get out at the airport, get on the train, and then there's a ferry waiting for you at the other end, and that's the Australian Girls in Gi ferry. Like, it's really, if you're scared of travel, don't be scared of travel. This event definitely teaches women how to travel for their sport, because quite often people haven't before, and they're scared to, like, a couple of things. They're scared to leave their kids, they're scared to leave their family, they're scared to invest in themselves, and you know, don't believe that they're the kind of woman that travels for their sport. Well, you are, and you might as well use AGIG, a really supportive, you know, environment, to learn how to do it. And, like, I've seen women be terrified of coming to, like, hang out with a group of women specifically. They're like, I couldn't do that. Women are fucking horrible. But they end up loving it. Or they've been terrified of traveling, and now I'm seeing them, like, organise world trips with their team and fly solo to go do world's masters, you know, like, stuff like that. Like, it's an eye-opener booster, you know, and it's inspiring for sure. Awesome. Get a ticket, otherwise you're mad.
I agree. This will be my 3rd one, and I mean, even I went to last year's one, and you find AGIG people. It's like you get off the plane and you see the hoodie and you're like, hey, like, come over here, like, let's travel.
It's so cool. That I love. It's like a festival, you know, like, it's so good. really cool. And like,
Sweet.
I know that there's been friendships made in airports that I'm not even aware of. Like, the coolest thing for me is post camp, I see women talking to each other online that I had no idea they'd even met, you know, and they become lifelong friends. And that is like the best thing ever.
And that's what you do because you have like-minded people that you're around.
Yeah.
And it's mad. And so many people at different skill levels, different jobs, different walks of life. It is so cool to have that diverse range of people that you wouldn't normally get the opportunity to hang out with. It's so cool.
Yeah. And I really think, you know, like, one of the things that really inspired me to travel Australia and try to roll with like every chick in Australia, like when I first started out, is because I believe, you know, I think that jiu-jitsu politics is pretty strong. I think that our community can be pretty toxic. And what I found with that is all the talk and all the bullshit and all the whatever it is that creates politics is never there when you're face to face with someone going, let's roll. Like, it's gone. If you're in front of someone, like, it's like this kind of ethereal thing that's like trying to like hold water in your hand. You know that like there's politics around and stuff, but as soon as you're in front of someone just hanging out, they're really nice people. Like, my gym is full of nice people. Your gym is full of nice people. Like, every gym is actually full of great people. Sure, there's douchebags around, but like that's the gyms are full of wonderful people, in amongst chaff sometimes, sure, but wonderful people that have a shared interest to you. And if you're right there in front of them, you get that experience. And I really think that, you know, that happens with the camps as well. Women might have a preconceived idea of what kind of woman goes to the camp, but the reality is it's us.
Yeah.
Like, you guys meet, we're pretty normal. Like,
Yeah.
not like
normal-ish.
We are, like, we're easy to get along with. If you don't want to talk to me, you just roll with me. That's if you're sick of hearing me talk, if you think that I'm talking about something shit, you're like, bro, you just hold out your hand, tap hands. Like, or you walk away and you hang out with like one of the other 100 chicks there. Like, but in my experience, there's awesome people. There's not just people that like you're worried about like having to put up with some weirdo or whatever. That's like maybe there's 1 or 2%, of course, like in any group. But the thing that people forget is you might meet someone that absolutely blows your mind. Like, I met Courtney Olsen at an AGIG camp. She came to a freaking AGIG camp. She's like one of the most famous lifters in the world. And she came to an AGIG camp wearing a head-to-toe onesie in leopard print. And I was like, I don't even know how to take this. She's one of the coolest humans I've ever met in my life, and I met her at an AGIG camp, you know?
Wow.
Like, so
That's mad.
Yeah, like, it's not just, I don't know, I think people can get wrapped up with being worried about what a group of women can be, but you can't even slightly comprehend how blown away you would be meeting Jean Alvisi for the first time.
Yeah.
Meeting Robin Jordan for the first time. Like, these women that it hasn't even entered your mind yet that, like, a 54-year-old woman in a black belt could be the most, like, stunningly inspirational woman you've ever come across, you know? Like, you've got no idea that it even exists, you know? Like, so I think turning your mindset from, like, I'm intimidated by women or a big group to, like, I have no idea what women are capable of yet, and I want to go see I want to go see what they are, you know? Like, and be blown away by them. Like, open your mind up to being totally in awe of a couple of people. Yeah.
That is so good. I'm so excited. I just can't wait for the whole experience again. It's going to be mad.
Yeah, I can't wait either. It really is. It's one of the good ones. Yeah. So go to the Australian Girls and Gi Instagram page and follow that. I'm doing a 100-day countdown. I think we're on like day 66 today, something like that, 66 days to go. And I'm just sharing a photo per day of like different camps that we've had, and it really gives you a sense of what it's like. Yeah. It's awesome on that one.
It's awesome. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
No worries. Nice
And
to be on here.
Yes.
Congratulations on the podcast. I'm really proud of you guys. It's very cool.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's definitely, you're one of the people that inspired us to get out there and do something. And as you said before, about not just, you don't have to own a gym to make a difference and to do something. And this is like our way to contribute to the community, because like you said, we talk shit all the time. Before we did this, we were just like, other girls must experience this. And that was the reason we started it, because we're just like, surely there's that one chick in the gym who just goes, I can't deal with this. Like, all these guys bash me and I can't progress. Like, surely they go through the same issues that we do. So, to be able to share it is amazing.
I love what you're doing. And I love, that you're contributing to the community in a way that no one else is doing yet. And you're doing it from somewhere that, like, from my perspective, is quite remote. But that doesn't hinder your contribution in any way.
No.
And that's such a great example to every person in jiu-jitsu, like women as well, but every person in jiu-jitsu. Like, you guys are deeply involved in the community. This doesn't change now. You're creating content that is there. It's a real tangible thing that's getting done, and it's a female voice in the community, and it's so important that it's here. Like, it's so important, like I'm part of strength communities and other communities as well as jiu-jitsu communities, and there's not enough female voices in them at all. And there's quite a bigger presence of women in those communities, but there isn't female voices. It's just dude bros on talking about dude bros, like, and I know for me, I'm craving the female voice in that, because I don't relate to the guys. I don't pick up 280 kilos. I don't know what that means. Like, and so I think that the value of this podcast within the jiu-jitsu community is huge, is absolutely huge. And I'm really impressed. Good on you.
Thank you. Well, I hope your day is awesome and you rock everyone's world.
Right back at you. The podcast, ladies. I want to go back and listen to the Pampax experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, full on.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Thanks, Jess.
Thanks.
Take it easy.
See you later.
Bye.